There will be West Side. You want to, there will be West Side. There will be Cloud. You want to be able to actually use your util against them. And looking at the agents, I mean, no surprises at this point. And for GiantX, normally I would say I'm worried if they don't start, you know, fast on map 1, but they've got 5 maps to work with, so it doesn't actually bother me at this point.
For them. Comfort zone for them. They know that this map is too warm up. I would really like to see GiantX succeed in this way and actually taking the win today just to crown their year and to, again, be the surprise. So for me, going into this ascent, West Side playing on the A has to be like kind of a necessity. There was some setups from Nats yesterday that were making it very difficult for Levin to even execute. And BBL, they have to keep innovating with this, but most importantly, keep their head in the game. Work with your tools. Yeah, 100%. It's those post plants that seem to be a big issue for BBL yesterday. Team Liquid recognizing the composition that they were up against and consistently playing retake. That's something that GiantX will be thinking here. As much as West Side is a strong anchor on defense, I don't want to see him getting overwhelmed by that amount of utility.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting place to start, especially considering there are no changes.
Yeah, no changes. The aggressiveness I want to see from GiantX, and to me, also very, very important, you mentioned West Side. I want to see Cloud. I want to see Cloud in the insanely reactive ultimates that he uses and how he can help set up the rest of his team.
I want to see Mitch and Tom, so I'm going to show you guys Mitch and Tom. Over to you, Mitch and Tom.
A smooth segue as always, Yinsu. Thank you very much. It's time to kick off this matchup. The crowd is certainly ready. I think I am too, Tom.
Yeah, no, a matchup in the lower finals that actually means something. Like, it's something that a lot of the time you don't get. The final is for the trophy, but when it comes to qualification to events, a lot of the time we've had it done early. We've been waiting to see, like, oh, what's going to happen at that international? Not the case here today. It is very, very simple. You've heard permutations throughout. If this team beats this team and this team beats it's all or nothing. The winner of this game goes to champions. The loser is out. Simple as that.
Yeah, we've had many different stakes in the past coming into this stage of the tournament, and often it will be one team fighting for that seeding while the other is looking to qualify. No, this is clear-cut as can be. The stakes couldn't be higher for either of these teams. A year of competition. Everything working towards champions and everything coming down to this moment. They best put their best feet forward, and we've seen plenty of power-ups throughout these last couple weeks. I'm looking at Ara coming into this game. He has had a phenomenal resurgence. Group stage was not kind to him. He had good games and bad games averaging out, but here, he has looked fantastic in the playoffs, and he'll be the man to draw first blood as well.
Look at the HP. The other two players already desperately low. Levin trying to take the charge, but he walks into Flickless. This is a good start for GX, and it's looking to continue. Spike on the deck, and 2 left standing. Sociable, well, I was going to say, might find a gap. Ara going, looking, could give him a kill. That's a way back into the round. The Sheriff potentially to be picked up. Westside needs to win this fight. Maybe over facing just a little bit in this pistol. And now with a path to the B site, there's an opportunity here for BBL.
Oh, nice shutdown by Cloud, though. Doesn't want to overcommit. 3 versus 2, or versus 1 rather, after taking down Profec. But Sociable's got that Sheriff. He can be dangerous. He showed it on Sunset just yesterday. Maybe he will in the next map, but for now, it's a 1-0 for GX, and another strong start for Arrow, which is something I'm looking for. As I said, he's a player that has had these, his ceiling is so high, but his floor seems so low throughout the group stage, and yet it seems like all we've seen is that ceiling here in playoffs, a man who is driven to make it to champions.
But that's sort of the fun thing about this matchup. I feel like he is up and down in games, and Levin is up and down in rounds. Like, it's like, I'd say if you look at scoreboards, Levin might be a little bit more consistent, but we saw it in their prior match. He had some moments that you want to forget, and some that we'll never forget, just with how good individually he can be. Another that fits that bill is, of course, Sociable, but I'm sure we'll have plenty to focus on throughout the entirety of this series. For now, it's a good early start for GX, and something we've highlighted throughout almost the entirety of Stage 2 was the victories in pistols for BBL. I'd say over the last couple of days, that stat has taken a hit.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there was a point where they were sitting around like 68%. Like, they were untouchable when it came to those pistol rounds, but the wins have changed, certainly in effect. And now the result of that 1-0 for GX is obviously 1 pistol and a full buy against Classics late into the round. BBL don't find their opportunities. These are the kind of rounds where maybe you're farming orbs, and then you're playing together as a unit, looking to just brute force into a site, use your numbers to your advantage. And Well, the only thing is, towards this site, Grabinho on the jump spot down below. It looks like he's playing a game of Mario with Ara close by, but Ara has to play through a smoke with an outlaw. He's kind of going to leave Grabinho isolated, which gives the pick away, gives the rifle as well, and even still, he has to wait for that reveal, but when it comes through, they follow up instantly.
Okay. This just got interesting. That's an outlaw into enemy hands. More importantly, into Sociable's hands. Now, a couple of the players have at least been tagged a little, but they are dealing with things well. And while trying to come out of the smoke, there was no real chance for Sociable. All in all, not a bad round for BBL. They made it costly. They got a plant. But it's still the round going the way of GX and that conversion in tow.
Yeah, they only had that one pistol, though, on GX, so quite a lot of damage done indeed. I think BBL can have their head held high. They chose the right site. Their smoke towards short or towards the door completely locked out any play from Arrow until that reveal landed. Then he's able to actually have some say, but he gets pushed on. Again, BBL making the instant read to make that push over into the player who had a sniper inside a smoke. Nice. It's an easy conversion of a few picks. Good damage to the economy. GX happy not to lose the round, and now looking for a 3-0 start, but with weaker weapons.
I want to go back to yesterday as well. Bear in mind, BBL played this map, 5-0 start for Liquid. They didn't get much going on the attack for at least a while. They brought it back to within a close round, but if GX can get that same sort of start, especially with that upgraded rifle now brought into play, this becomes quite scary. We've spoken that for most teams currently playing within the tournament, getting those attack rounds on Ascent, normally the more difficult of the two.
But unlike yesterday, BBL haven't gone in for the force buy in round 2, so where their first full buy came in round 4, now they've got that coming in to round number 3. So we do want to see that little bit of a show up from them early on, at least in terms of contesting, even if the scoreline does slip away. Taking that lighter by, still making, hey, maybe if they had a force bought that one, they would have won towards the A side. Who knows? That'll be a question that's never answered. For GX, so this is somewhere that they should be losing the round. Like we said, with the damage done in the previous, you've got Grabinho on a Bucky, you've got a Sheriff in play for Ara. I mean, really not there are a lot of weaknesses for this squad.
They shot early as well. It wasn't actually the Bucky that shoots the Prowler, it's the player behind. They're trying to bait them into that fight, but instead, they are going in the other direction. The weaker of the two, but the Cypher setup's here.
Clouds up above the smoke, very nice angle. A freebie in a round like this, he couldn't wish for much more, but Westside going down through the cage. That's a nice return for BBL. They've got the site, a plant should be found, and now retaking with the Bucky, retaking with the Sheriff. It's gonna have its downsides. Seen the impact of a good reveal earlier, but there'll be none to be found as Cloud goes down. Ara closing the distance, but they're aware on BBL that all their opponents are towards this angle. The blind is perfect, though. Great work from Grabinho. Flickless onto Levin. Now they start to close the distance, but Sociable stands strong in a round where they need him to show up. It's 2-1.
Yeah, and this is something else I want to highlight. Although that is a round for BBL, I think credit needs to be given to players like Flickless and like Grabinho. I think they've been the glue of this team as of recent, and the pop flash that goes through and then followed up by the paranoia, that made a round that should have been very clean and almost impossible into a winnable round if not for Sociable. So you got to watch out for that when GX have the rifles, because there's a good chance that that round wouldn't have even been close.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of utility usage, obviously Grabinho did well there with the paranoia, but Flickless has just been one of the most impressive to look at. Like, I've been blown away with him pretty much from week 1, but it's a consistency thing as well. Like, every game that he's played, he's been on point, and then we move towards playoffs.
He's got better as well.
Yes, gotten better, not just in his util, but then also he started showing up individually. We've seen this guy put up numbers. If you compare his first 3 weeks to his last 3, it's a very different story being told, and that utility usage, that support element hasn't gone anywhere. So definitely an extremely valuable player. I expect to see him next year, regardless of the result here, or if GX make it the champs, depending on how that goes.
Yeah, an early C's actually utilized by the attack, and I'm curious as to what the goal was there. Just maybe trying to keep a couple of players on that side, but there wasn't anything to follow up off the back of it. Flickless now, just there to delay. I think the plan was always to try and head into this B site. Arrow well positioned, will be forced back, and just about makes it through the salvos before they go off.
Still the reveal in play for Cloud, so these smokes going up. It's going to get complicated pretty soon. In for Westside onto Levin, catches the push, and Cloud managing one before going down. The spam through the smoke, not so kind to him. Late play coming in from Sociable, but there's nothing to be found. And it is the man we were talking about, Flickless, who just dominated that site after running out of the market. 3-1 for GX. They lose on their very light sort of bonus round, but then they come right back in swinging. And even then, in round 3, it was incredibly close.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They barely kept any rifles up other than the couple that were remaining. And because of that, the economy is already in a pretty bad state for the side of BBL. Sure, last time it might have been 5-0, but it seems like there's a good chance that this one may go even more dominant if they can't start streaking together. Bear in mind as well, this is sort of the burden they've had of picking this map. You're always going to start on the attack, and if you start slow, that's a problem.
Oh, that's a mistake from Yumpy. He's walked straight into Ara. Luckily, this isn't a full buy for BBL. There's weaknesses, so it's good to get those out of the way early, but Ara's showing that even against the low buy, which he knows, the opposition hasn't got money for rifles and shields. And he's willing to play that little bit aggressive, that little bit confident, and that's again what I'm looking to see from this guy who has just heated up as playoffs continue. 6-4 start from the Duelist, a Blade Storm available, and what should be now, thanks to his work, an easy closer to a round that BBL have made look a little competitive in the past.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's much. Sociable has his ult, but unless they get into a position where, you know, maybe if Levin gets a kill and they get a plant that gets him an ult. But the bigger problem they have is, even if you deal with some of the earlier fights, you've then got to try and get past Westside. Well, you just speak his name and he appears. It almost looks too easy. An in-zone flawless for GX to go 4-1 into the lead. And while the credits already booming, the ult's starting to come online as well. I'm waiting to see if maybe once again there'll need to be an early BBL pause.
I think it's still very early doors, but coming out of this next buy round, that's
guys,
where
come on, let's go,
things
boys.
do go awry. I'd expect to see it. You think about the previous purchase from BBL, and it was some individual whiffs. It was Flickless catching them off guard as the door was closing. Priorities.
It will
not
be
really being
6-1
checked
down though.
Yeah. Keeping one for the next half. I mean, you have to rely on BBL still having that ability. We saw them 5-0 down, battle back, 7-5 at the half. Not in their favor, but still, they managed to put up enough
Look at the defense.
rounds.
They've already taken full middle control. Like, this is just absurd. They're getting boxed in immediately, and now Prophet tries to react, but he's not quick enough. The defense waited for them to have that buy and then went full aggro. BBL have been caught off guard, and well, this round's already looking over.
Yeah, about that pause. It could be the time for it coming up soon. Ara's confidence is just out of control right now. Not only that, he's not pushing solo, right? You said it was 3 players going down on mid, covering all their bases. They're looking like the better squad right now by far. And BBL have to go back to the drawing board. This is their map pick. And somewhere we've seen them show up. Somewhere we've seen them be slow to start, like we've been talking about. But now we're getting towards panic stations as GX make this one look very clean.
Yeah, that's the problem. Normally when you talk about GX as well, that first map, I think Bear mentioned it on the desk, that it can be a bit of a warm-up. Like, okay, they start slow, map 2 and 3, they're really good. If they're blitzing in map 1, this is a terrifying prospect. And as you said, it's like sometimes maybe Ara can be a little bit slow. Sometimes West, they're all on. Every single player at the moment is performing for one side. And other than the singular round out of Sociable, there's been nothing. Now, the one thing BBL does have coming into this round is 5 ultimates. Weaponry a bit weak, but there's still a chance.
You do also have to think about how we got here as well. Oh, this is going to be a fast play. GX are looking to straight up push down the DRX in full effect. Ara's going through. Cloudburst flash. He's been caught by it. He stepped out too early. Now they've got him boxed in the corner. In goes the util. He's been pressured from all sides and will go down. But Flickless stepped out to battle alongside him. He'll even take Sociable on the top of mid. The weaker weapons really showing their weaknesses as Flickless just dominates the mid-fights. That is disgusting. He stepped out to try to help Ara, and instead, he's helped GX by putting the 6th on the board.
The weird thing as well is, I think in the middle of all that, Magnum tried to use his ult just to help a little bit, and it didn't make a difference. It doesn't seem like anything is making a difference, and we now do see that pause, but I think you're kind of seeing what I was talking about when saying that maybe it was the time at 4-1 down, because you're calling a pause at 6-1 down. Like, you're basically relying on, okay, now can we streak 5 rounds in a row? Or at least like 3 or 4. And with how things have been going so far, Well, GX just pushed mid 2 rounds in a row. Like, I think they're about as confident as you can get.
I think you do have to look at it, and I think it's different for every team, but something I think GX are guilty of is calling those pauses too early, putting a stoppage to play, stopping your players from finding those solutions themselves. And I think a big part of being a coach is not to smack that button the second you see that there's an issue. It's to arm your players with the ability to play out those first 5, 6, 7 rounds themselves, to problem solve and to listen in. If you hear something that's not sounding right to you, sure, you smack that button, but usually coaches like to leave it those 6 because you can structure those, but now we need the adaptations. And at 6-1 down, BBL desperately need those adaptations.
That's the problem, though. I worry at this stage if it's already too late. Just because the manner of the rounds they've lost, other than the one they won against a bonus, it has been so clean for GX.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see if they have now got the answers.
And I'm sure it's strange to listen to that and think, whoa, Tom, I mean, it's a 5-round gap. We just said they were 5 rounds down in the last time they played this, and they won the map. So what's the problem?
They didn't win the map.
Oh, they didn't. It was 13-10 against them, and then they came back. Yeah, you're right. So first of all, already an issue. But the other thing is, last time, and this makes this point even worse, the last time, those rounds were at least up for competition. Here, it's been decimation. GX have been miles ahead. And after this pause, we need to see a return to form from BBL. Ara finds one. Trades are good. Yumpy's back into the round, but there's so many more players here than I think they expect. Even taking down Westside. Flickless, who's been rock solid, is still here. This time he crumbles, and Cloud is left in a 1v2.
They go back to the basics. Fast-paced hit off the null command, but Cloud, I'll be honest, hasn't had that much to do so far, but always reliable. This crossfire, though, should be tough to break through. 2 players on opposite parts. Even going to try and bait the sounds, but ultimately they will have heard the reload. They know roughly where he's going to be. And as he rounds this corner, you'd expect Magnum to be ready and waiting on the other side. And it will be BBL's return to form. A first, but what needs to be a first of a few.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one straight out of the pause. The plan's there. Popping the ult on Yumpy, letting him swing, take that shot from the operator, and then they close the distance. And this was not an easy push. I mean, there were so many players here flying under the radar. Westside maybe swinging a little bit too early. Probably want to see him go off Flickless contact, but he's trying to get involved with Gravino, who they already knew was there. Flickless flies under the radar, and I think, honestly, a rare whiff from him. He puts a player low, doesn't manage to take it across the line, and from what we've seen so far this game, that's a bit of a godsend. You're not going to get that too many more times.
Again, early utility being sent in, but this time on the other side of the map, and I'm looking at the position currently of that spike. This may be some early utility, but it isn't an early commitment. Maybe expecting some sort of response, maybe hoping that there would be a TP across the map from the likes of Grubinho, who does have his ultimate online, but instead, after no reaction, BBL are going to fall back into a more patient play. However, that's not gone to plan at all. Ara, once more, starting things off with an opener.
And I don't think in first duels he's even the guy I would hail for in terms of his playoff performance, but this game he's certainly taking on a new identity. It's a scary thing for BBL to face him on this kind of form. TP going through, it's not going to be stuck, surely. No, Prophet commits it. He's in, and now he's revealed. He's got the spike. The spams are coming through. The damage done leaves him on 13, and it's the off to drop him. Meanwhile, Magnum and Sociable fall, and Yumpy, all that's left from a successful round off an ultimate straight A pressure, a 1v5. GX looking clean right after that pause, and this has gone from bad to worse for BBL.
Yeah, the direct play, firstly, didn't pull anybody. Like, GX are playing so confidently in their setups that nobody decided to move. Then you lose Levin on a sort of wild jump into mid. And from them onwards, it almost looked too easy. I love the fact as well that that trip is mostly meant for Levin. Like, you put that into position just to catch the jet as they dive in to click the switch. Instead, a player TP's next to it and just walks into it by coincidence and gets killed because of it. It is a solid start for GX, and while the best BBL can hope for is 5, and I'll be honest with what I've seen so far, I don't think they're getting there.
I think we got to just enforce the strategy of don't go B. Westside, he's too powerful right now to be dealt with.
So you want to go to Flickless Ara? Like,
hell yeah.
There's no good options right now. Nothing's working.
Flickless was 9-2, got killed trying to hunt down the final weapon in Wine. Looking the wrong way, it seems to be the biggest success rate for taking him out. And again, talking about how they got here, as we've got a slower start to the round, BBL failing to qualify. They had a chance. They were within punching distance.
Well, they had match point.
Match series champs point, and they failed. They faltered. They fell down here. GX are coming off the back of a hot streak in the lower bracket. They've looked like they were out of the competition for a couple of days, but they've kept themselves alive, and now they're within reaching distance of their goal. I think GX have got by far the most wind in their sails, while BBL are looking for a bounce back. And what we're seeing so far doesn't make it look likely that that's the kind of day they're going to have.
This is your map choice. And right now it's looking like your opponent's Ara in place once again. Flickless on that cross, and they have just been decimated. You spoke about going in towards that A site as potentially the safe haven. You avoid west side. Well, that's the other side of the coin. It's not looking much better.
Yeah, that's where I call it pausing. All right, boys, back to B. Let's push west side. Let's take west side down.
Mid.
Can we plant mid? Can we try it? We tried it. Now, this is a
I think they know where he is.
horrendous start to the 1v5. He's being spotted. Dove. Oh! Ara! He had no right to bring it there. I mean, if you thought BBL were feeling down before this, that's got to put them out. Disrespectful play, but he's earned it.
It's just Flickless causing them issues, and the more issues he causes them, the more space he makes for Ara. It is a gorgeous 1-2 punch on the way in, and, well, yeah, as if it wasn't going bad enough, the disrespect of the knife at the end. 8 and 2. And for BBL, it starts to move away from resetting on this map and talking about resetting into the next one. It's a much more direct take, but already Westside. I spoke about what is the lesser of two evils. Right now, there isn't one.
Well, we were talking about A being Flickless and Ara. Now B is Ara and Westside. It's about as bad as it can be. Avoiding Ara seems to be a difficulty. It's still Westside to pick up the opening after Ara was blinded. 3 players and traps on B, though. That leaves weaknesses on A, but they're choosing the wrong spot. They're moving into the off, which has missed its shot. Okay, an opportunity perhaps, but they'll still need to get by another player in Cloud and another in the form of Westside, who's got his 2nd kill of the round. BBL, you know, they're a team that we look at as good in pistols, but also good in these force buys or these light buys where they've just got sheriffs and a couple bits and pieces. It's certainly not been the flavor of the day here.
Okay.
Oh, 2 misses.
Ara showing he is mortal, but maybe in a round where it won't matter too much. They had pulled it back into a 2v2. Sociable's ultimate has been online for a long time, and Magnum has the spike. He needs to at least get one of these, and he will. Puts it into the 1v1 scenario. Sociable was the guy to win them there first. Looks to bring them their 3rd. A lifeline, and he's got it just about right, but Groovy has the read. Another scenario that goes the way of GX. 9 and 2 up. And even when there looked like a blip or 2 was there for GX, they still recover.
One more round to play for. BBL setting their goal at 3, not by choice. Great round from Rubinho, and I think this is across the board a stellar performance from GX. Even Cloud 4 and 5. He's got 8 assists, and those are all pretty damn high impact. Those reveals that he sent from B to A single-handedly won them around in round number 2. Stopped BBL from having early success on the board. It looks like there will be a shift to the B site. They look once again to challenge Westside. With Yampi faking out A, I like this.
For Grabinho as well. The story of leaving Koi, a team that finished 1 and 4 in the stage he played, to being a singular match away from champions, might be one of the biggest glow-ups we've ever seen within the region. Of course, as it was said on the desk, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but right now it's looking like a sprint for GX. Finally, we're going to see the usage of that Armageddon to try and give them some space. Levin is already gone again. He's been having a rough half, and it's not getting any better. They have just been decimated. Another in-zone flawless for GX. And right now, this is men against boys.
Champions on the line, but only 2 rounds on the board for BBL on their map pick. This is going to be a difficult second half, to say the least. We expect so much more from this team, and maybe we'll get to see it after the break. Welcome back, folks. 10 rounds on the board for GX. I mean, this squad, I've said it in almost every cast we've had of them, Tom, but they have surprised me every step of the way this year. But I think this one takes the cake. I mean, double digits starting it out. This guy as well, he has blown my socks off. Regular stage, he was middling, average at best when you look at his stats. Against Na'Vi, he was on fire, and he's brought that same energy here today to crush BBL's chances.
Do you know what it is? I heard that he was swapping mouse after every single match. Maybe he just picked the best one and just stuck with it for playoffs.
He was testing it all the way. Smart, man.
It was all the warm-up. Yeah, smart. But hey, it seems like whatever he settled on, maybe that's the one I'll be buying as well, because it's looking pretty good right now.
Let us know, Ara. Let us know. Keyboard 2. The movement's been pretty slick. Double digits. I mean, Nat said it yesterday. It's all a matter of a pistol. He was talking about coming back. For GX, if they're saying that, it's about closing out. They could very well put an end to this map, and a team that we talked about in GX of being slow to start. Well, they are anything but here. No breaks. All gas, and Profect down and out already. Opening duel for the side of GX. Nice C's, though. That's going to grab them at least one back.
But in the meantime, Gravino pounces. Sociable's still trying his best. The fight's awkward, it's labored, and that gives an opportunity back into the 2v2. Sociable still fighting as Gravino will get the plant in. An even scenario, but Sociable's given them a slight advantage.
Yumpy's so low, though. That door breaking open could spell the end for him, and I like this closer angle for Gravino. Smoke goes down, right click not good, but West Side is. Guy's a menace when it comes to headshots, but only a body tap needed. If Ascent is hell, West Side must be the devil for BBL. They can't get anything done here. 11-2. They might have to take a force buy.
Yeah, it's the whatever the lesser of evils here is at this stage. We have moments like this before. I remember, I think it was last stage, or maybe even kickoff, they picked this map versus Liquid. They went 0-12 with this exact composition, playing on the attack. That's always sort of been the burden for BBL, is you want to play this map, but you have to get your attack sides looking a little bit better. And unfortunately, when it matters most, we are seeing the same evil that has caused them issues before. Of course, we're going to talk about then a best of 5. Sure, you can lose map 1. Maybe it doesn't matter too much, but after being so close yesterday, tasting defeat, and then having to reset, I'll be honest, they have not reset. And GX, well, that momentum is definitely still going strong.
Yeah, GX haven't reset either, right? They're bringing that same energy, that same momentum, if anything, building on it throughout this lower bracket run. And it could culminate in their first appearance at VCT champion since 2023. They've been missing from that international scene, from the big one. But maybe not for too much longer, certainly if they keep playing like this. And again, you look at the facets they have, every player seems to be one of the best in their category. Flickless, a double opening running through the smoke. He finds those picks with ease, and BBL, you know, this isn't a full eco. Look at the credits. They're on 0 for most. In fact, 50 credits between the 5 of them. They put everything into this one. And again, BBL coming up with nothing.
GX looking to end this one quickly. And honestly, for BBL, that might be a blessing. Give them a chance to reset and hopefully come back for the next one, because right now there's only been one team in this server. It is GX that have been making that lower bracket run. Of course, both teams sent there by Liquid. GX just went there a little bit earlier, and well, dare I say it, that is another in-zone flawless. A force buy-in, and you don't get a single kill. Wrap this one up.
10 in a row off the low buy. Yeah, this is I've seen many a comeback in my time, but this is not one that I expect to remember for too much longer. For GX, man, it really is surprising. They come into this year, and I wasn't willing to give them.
No.
Yeah, that's a feeling I think we can all relate to. For GX, you know, I thought this is a team that I wouldn't be giving any redemption in this year, and I haven't. Because redemption isn't given, it is earned. And they, throughout this season, they have earned their redemption. They've earned our respect. And now, they're looking to earn a spot in the grand finals, a seat in champions. This map the first step of what is sure to be many to come. An execution onto Yampi leaves Sociable alone, and it's time to start thinking about Sunset.
Yeah, last man standing, Sociable. All he can really hope to deny here is another in-zone flawless, and that's not going to be happening either. Let's continue as we mean to go on. GX coming into their opponent's map choice have just won 13-2. A statement victory to kick off this best of 5, but they do need a couple more after the break.